Okay, hello and welcome to my June wrap up. I believe I have not started this vlog because I have not finished a book so far in June, and it is the 8th. But I did finish a book yesterday. I read What Have You Done by Shari Lapena or Lapena. I read this whole thing yesterday, so it was a very quick read. It's also just over 300 pages, so it was really quick and easy. And I was very interested and excited to see what was happening in this. This one, we follow a bunch of people in a small town in Vermont called Fairhill. There's not a lot to do here. The kids hang out in the graveyard. Just a typical small town where everyone kind of knows everyone. One morning, a farmer sees a bunch of vultures flying around in his field. He goes to check it out and sees that there is a dead girl. Her name is Diana Brewer. We watch as they try to figure out who did it, and we see it from like a bunch of different people's perspectives. There is a nice like character outline on like the first 4 pages. They each get like a little blurb about them, so it definitely helped me keep people straight. Shari Lapena writes in an interesting way where it'll switch perspectives quite often throughout a chapter. There's another perspective without ending the chapter, obviously, but it makes it clear usually who's writing or whose perspective it is. I think she's pretty good at like being like, this is Cameron, here's some context clues so you remember who he is. There probably could be a few less characters in here, but I enjoyed this overall. Was it the most shocking, amazing mystery ever? No, but I don't need every single one to be. So I gave this one 4 stars. I really like Shari Lapena's books. I've read, I think she said this was her 8th one. I think I've read 6 of them. 2 of them I'm just not sure that I'm really interested in, but I also pre-ordered her one that comes out in July. I just always love her books. It also apparently is an Indigo exclusive with bonus content, but I could not tell you what the bonus content is. But I enjoyed this one, and I'm glad I finally got a book read for the month. I have a bunch of audiobooks from the library that I need to read because my holds always come in at once. So hopefully over the next couple days I will have a lot of updates for you guys, but I feel like my hair is always a mess on here. But hello, it is now June 11th and I finished another book. I finished Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I'm currently editing my May wrap up, and in there I read the second book, Glow of the Everflame. And in there I said, I'm not going to get this audiobook for several months because that's what my library said. So I was prepared to not have it for a few months. But they must have gotten more copies because I got mine in and I read it. This one was so long. In this series, we're following DM, who is a healer in a world where mortals are pretty low on the totem pole. The Descendants rule everything pretty much, and there is a civil war between the 2 groups, and she is kind of getting pulled in both directions after her mother, who was also a healer, vanished, and she still had months later does not know where she is. The human rebels are trying to get her to join their team, but she also now as a healer has a connection to the Descendants. She's been working there and to the king's heir, Luther. This is the 3rd book. I can't really tell you what happens in this one. Lots has happened. This book was way too long. I did enjoy it, but I wasn't looking forward to listening to it very often. Like, I could put it down and be fine. There was really interesting parts. It was just too long. Stuff could have gotten cut out. The romance was good in this for the most part. I think DM is just not like the best main character, maybe. I don't know. I like her, but then there's also parts of her that I don't like. And some of the side characters that I like, we got to see a bit more in some of this book, so I liked that. But this was way too long, and that definitely brought it down. So I gave it a 3 stars on Goodreads, but it's probably like 3.25, 3.5. I don't know. but the other two I gave 4 stars, but now I'm kind of over this. Like, all 3 books, stuff happens, but there's so much more time where nothing happens, if that makes sense. So that kind of brings them down for me. But now, I also mentioned this in my May wrap-up, the 4th book, it doesn't come out till July 2026. So when it was a several month wait for this audiobook, I didn't care as much because then it'd be a bit closer to when the 4th one came out, but it's a whole year till I find out what happened after a huge cliffhanger. So it seems like every month I am coming in here and telling you about a book I forgot to tell you about, and this time it is Beautiful Silver Elite by Dani Francis. I loved this one. It is about, I forgot what her name is, Ren, who has psychic gifts, and where the current climate of the world, that is like the worst thing you could have. Most psychics, whatever psychic power they have, are put to death, or they have to kind of surrender to the continent and kind of basically hunt other psychics and fight the rebels. So Ren has kind of been living her life in secret, trying to she doesn't really know her past, trying to not give away she has these powers while honing these abilities and wanting to help in the rebellion. They call anyone with like psychic abilities or any other kind of abilities modified. But yeah, she kind of gets herself in a really bad situation where she is having to work with the enemy in a way. And she's hoping to cause chaos and implode it from the inside out. She's training for Silver Block, which can be deadly, especially when you're harboring dangerous secrets and living in close quarters with everyone who wants you dead. Whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. As war rages between mods like her and those who aim to destroy them, Ren must decide just how far she's willing to go to protect herself and how much of the continent is worth saving. I gave this one 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna love it as much as everyone else, but I did. It was beautiful, and I really can't wait for the next book to come out, whenever that is. I doubt it's been announced because this literally just came out. I do want to get a book trophy for this one, but when I was last in Indigo, it's 37 Canadian dollars. I can't do that right now, but eventually I will get a book trophy for this. But I did really enjoy the audiobook, so if you are like me and not wanting to spend that much on a single book, the audiobook is super good. The hype is so real. I really like Ren. She was a really good female main character. I liked Cross as the romantic interest, and I liked a lot of the side characters as well, and it was really into their stories and their character development, and it definitely ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm super excited. I don't know how I didn't talk to you guys about this one because it was one of my top books of the month. So okay guys, so it is the 17th already, and I just finished another book. Read Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which is her newest release, about Alice and Hayden, who are both authors. He's a little bit more, he like won a Pulitzer Prize, and she's a little less known, but they both get asked to come and basically interview this elusive woman named Margaret from this really famous and scandalous family, and she is going to choose one of them to tell her story after this 1-month trial period. But they both have to sign NDAs, so they can't tell each other what they're learning, but each of them are only learning parts of her story. So she's going to choose who gets to hear it all and write the book at the end of the month, but there is growing feelings between the two of them. So think Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but not as good, unfortunately. I was interested in the stuff with Margaret and learning her story and her scandalous past, which, was it that scandalous? Maybe for the time, but it didn't really feel like and like the ending twists of her story, that was good. But I didn't really feel the excitement and the fame and like why people were so interested in her, I guess, and her family. Did enjoy that. I just think when you're writing something that's so close to the idea of Evelyn Hugo, that's really big shoes to fill, especially for me because I love that book. So just didn't quite hit it, but I did really enjoy the idea, and it was not bad. It was pretty good, but just not top tier. And then the romance between Alice and Hayden is the part that really fell short for me. I really didn't enjoy that part that much. It was incredibly insta love. They barely spent any time with each other, and they're like, I think I love him. I think I love him. No, you don't. So that part I hated. I don't know if I should say hated, but I didn't like the romance. I thought I didn't really see the chemistry, and then they were like in love. And I didn't like the flash forward at the end of this book. And it's interesting because I just saw someone post about how that never happens in her books, and then it happens in this one. And I didn't like it. So this one was disappointing. Wasn't awful, but like was not great. So I'm gonna put it at a 3 on Goodreads, but it's probably like a 3.5. So it was okay. Hopefully I'll be back soon with another book done. I just have not been reading, which is not good. Hello guys, it's probably been over a week since I've talked to you guys. But I've read 3 books. I'm just bringing up my Goodreads, so sorry I'm looking down. But I keep forgetting to let you guys know that I read these books. So let's talk about them. All of these came in as skip the line loans for books that I had already on hold at the library. So they came in and I had to read them back to back, even if I wasn't in the mood for them. So first I read If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finley. I've read The Night Shift by this author and I liked it. This one follows a lot of people, which is part of its downfall, because I was getting confused. But back in high school 5 years ago, Ryan Richardson lived a really horrible night. He was in a car with his girlfriend and someone came, ripped his girlfriend out, knocked him out, and she was never seen again. So obviously everyone thought he did something to her because he survived. When he woke up, he told people, but he had no recollection, except he had a little bit of a weird description of the guy. He had no pinkies. Now he's in law school and on a summer trip abroad where he ends up seeing this man with no pinkies. And he's trying to track him down to make sure it's him and to get justice. Back home, they finally found the car, and in there was a note from the girl that went missing, Allie, and the note says, if something happens to me. And then there's like a cipher on there, so they have to figure out what she's trying to say. It was a lot. There's too many characters, too many storylines, and they did all come together, but I was confused for a good chunk of this book. So I gave it 3 stars. Wasn't a huge win for me, but wasn't awful. I liked some of it, but there's also parts in it that I don't really like reading about that much. I can say it, I guess, because it's at the beginning. I don't really like reading about mob stuff to a certain extent, but I don't know. I don't feel like that's like the most interesting thing to me. And that's a good segue because I also read Witness 8 by Steve Kavanaugh. This is actually an Eddie Flynn novel. I guess it's the 8th Eddie Flynn novel. I read 13 probably like 2020, maybe 2021, and I really enjoyed it. So I knew I liked his books, and I do have one of his other books on my TBR, but I decided to just go with the audiobook for this one. Our main character, Ruby, was one of our main characters, former resident of this really nice neighborhood. I can't remember, like they're the 14th Street or something like that. But because of her father's bad decisions, her and her mom are extremely broke now, and she works as like a maid, nanny, anything like that for the people on the street she used to live on. Yeah, she witnesses a murder on this street. Then in comes Eddie Flynn, who is an ex-con artist turned defense attorney. The guy that Ruby says murdered the neighbor that's who hires Eddie Flynn. There's DNA and a lot of evidence pointing to this man, including a witness. But to save his client's life, Eddie must first protect his own, as the scariest organized criminals in the city are out for his head. And yeah, there's just some like mob, gang, organized crime stuff in this one that I don't really care for either. So that was a downfall of this one and the last one. And this one also has so many characters, and I am in the I'm at the 8th book in the series. I've only read one other one, so that has something to do with it. But these are books that I think you can read as standalones, because I did read the first one originally as a standalone. When I read it, I didn't realize it was in a series. So yeah, both 3-star reads. Not great, but not awful. Finally, today I finished The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This is very much Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, but ice skating. I'll read the description for this because I feel like it's a good description. She may not have a famous name, funding, or her family's support, but Katrina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. Clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives, Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship. Until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public fascination. Claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals, Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story, from the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. So there are parts that are like the interview for the documentary, like Daisy Jones and the Six, but some of it's just more in the scene narrative. I enjoyed this one. I did have a little bit higher hopes for it. I hoped it was gonna be a 5-star read. It ended up being a 4-star. I was getting bored at certain points. And I think it's also the thing where when you get a skip the line loan, or your book finally comes from the library and you're not in the mood for it, but you have to read it, sometimes I feel like it puts a downer on the book. So that might be what it was, but I think it just felt like a tinge too long. But I enjoyed this, and I've read what was that other really popular book by Lane Fargo? They'll Never Learn. I had huge hopes going into that one and it was just okay, but I enjoyed this one a lot more. And I am glad I read it. 4 stars is still a great rating. I just wanted it to be a 5-star read. But it was super good and I would recommend it, and I'm glad it's getting some hype because it definitely has, considering because everyone's saying how much it's like Taylor Jenkins Reid-esque. So I guess in this month I read Great Big Beautiful Life or whatever, that's also supposed to be kind of Taylor Jenkins Reid-esque, and that was a disappointment, but this one definitely lived up to it a little bit more. So hopefully I'll read a couple more books this month. I don't know, and I don't think I'm finishing my TBR because it's already the 26th. I didn't mention that. It's already the 26th, so. And I have a busy next few days, so I don't have high hopes. I also do need to film my TBR, so for July already. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, bye. Hello guys, I think I haven't missed any talking to you about any books, but on the last day of June, on June 30th, I read Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller that I've put off for a really long time, and I am so sad that I did because I ended up listening to it one sitting basically and adored it and gave it 5 stars. So read the books you've been putting off. That's a message for me and for all of you watching. This one is about Daisy Darker and her family, the Darker family, as they come together to their, I think they call her Nana, kind of a family reunion for Nana's birthday, but also because Nana thinks she's gonna die soon. Everyone kind of feels like this will probably be the last time that their whole family comes together. So Nana lives on this kind of island. I forget what they call the house. Well, they have a name for this estate, but basically all the siblings, like Nana's son, his ex-wife, and all of their kids, and then the other honorary child, basically all come in to this birthday family reunion thing. And when the tide comes in, they're basically stuck on this island. When they all go to bed, all of a sudden Nana is found dead. Soon another person is, and they're all stuck on this island trying to figure out which one of them or someone else that's stuck on the island who could be doing this. So I really like this one. I don't know why I put it off for so long because I knew I was gonna like it, and I've truly only heard good things about this. Maybe one person random I've heard didn't like this, but in general I only heard good things. So I'm so sad I took so long to read this, but I needed a 5-star in this moment, so that's what I've been building up for, I guess. The audiobook is also really good. If you need an audiobook, I would recommend it. It goes by really fast as well. I loved it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it because isolated settings and then there were none ideas where people get picked off one by one can be hit or miss with me, but this one was done right. It was done correctly. It was so freaking good. So read it. That was a good way to end June, and now I have high standards for July, so hopefully we get there. But yeah, those are all the books that I read in June. I'm really hoping to have a good reading month in July. I have so much stuff that I need to read in July. I forgot about these books will self-destruct list. That's in July that I'm supposed to be done them. I'm supposed to be done them in July, so. And then I'm also making a really fun video reading one of my favorite booktubers' favorite books, which Daisy Darker may be included in. So definitely subscribe to stick around and see all my future videos, including this booktuber one. I really would appreciate it. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. Both those mean the absolute world to me. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!